Griffin here, coming back to you all with another live stream. I say another, it's been a while. As a lot of you guys know, we've been in the process of moving. I actually don't even have an office chair right now, using a stool. Just had some quick time for you guys this evening, and I know it's been a while, so I wanted to hop on here, go over just some things that I've been thinking about lately because obviously with moving and everything, I've had to really manage my time very strategically, and that just got me thinking about this topic that the title of tonight's stream, which a lot of you guys will probably see it once it goes from a stream to a video, and like the title says, who should start a pest control business, and not even just a pest control business really, but just who should start a business in general. Of course, I know a lot of you guys follow for like the pest control business side of things specifically, and later on in the stream a little bit, I'll actually give you guys just overall business updates because I know a lot of you guys are really into that type of stuff. But just real quickly, for anyone that'll be tuning in either live or after we go, live to video, whenever you may see this. And if you're new and you're wondering who the heck is this guy, my name is Griffin Thomas. I started a pest control company about 4 years ago now, Preferred Pest Management, in the Dallas, Texas area, or I guess Plano, Texas now, technically. And on this channel, I just document my overall journey, of course, like most of you know. And hopefully the audio and video quality, by the way, is good. If it is or isn't, let me know in the chat for those of you that are tuning in. But yeah, we just document that overall journey for you guys, answer any questions. We have a good community that's building day by day. It's crazy. I didn't realize how many people were looking to start a pest control business, service business, whatever the case may be. A lot of people are joining our community. I know we have our totally free groups that you guys can join too on Discord. All the links for these are in my description box, by the way, and where it says like my LinkTree. And there's over 300 of us on Discord. You guys have been super active in there. I haven't even been able to keep up with you guys in there. I've been trying now that we're slowly but surely getting settled in. How's it going there, Freddie? Hope all's well with you too, man. Yeah, I've been trying to kind of catch up with you guys a little bit in there since we're finally slowly but surely getting settled in here to our new home. But yeah, we have over 300 people in there on Facebook as well. We have a Facebook group that we started about a year or so ago now, and that is also up to, I want to say, like 120 members roughly. We started that a little bit later. We've been on Discord for years now, but we're now on Facebook. We have a Facebook group as well, like I said. Whichever one you want to join, if you want to join both, links are in my link tree down below. But yeah, always, if you're joining live, don't ever hesitate to ask any questions or anything in regards to, starting your own pest control business, whatever the case may be. I've had a lot of questions lately that I'll probably do like an overall video, just, most common questions I get about starting a pest control business or owning one, that I'll probably do for you guys here in the coming week or so. But yeah, just real quick, we'll hit the topic at hand, which is, who should start a pest control business. And then, like I said, rapid fire your questions or whatever comments or anything that you may have. And yeah, with that, we'll just kind of dive right in. So, I like to say there's two, maybe three even types of people when it comes to just business in general, not necessarily from a business ownership standpoint, but just in business in general. This is at least what I've kind of realized in my time as an employee, as a business owner, and everything in between. And each one has different mindsets, skill sets, disciplines, all this type of stuff. You have the employee who, they are what they are. There's the employees that are good, there's the employees that are bad, but overall, they're just kind of programmed to, hey, I'm going to work Monday through Friday, maybe Monday through Saturday, whatever the case may be for their schedule. I'm going to come in, do my 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever the case may be, 12 hours in some cases. I'm going to come in, do my time, and then leave. Don't want to have to worry about work outside of that. Get my paycheck, whatever, retirement, this and that, move on. That's kind of, the standard employee, right? Then we have what is mostly known as kind of the entrepreneur, which is still, the employee, right? Because they don't take on all the risk that the ownership takes on, in the case of us, like we're the owner, manager, whatever you want to refer to yourself as, CEO, right? They're not taking on all that risk, but they want more than what like your standard entry level type of employee, even upper, management in some cases, depending on how they, what company they work for and how they slide through, up the corporate ladder somehow. Sometimes these, employees that don't really care somehow, I don't know if it's just time. A lot of places are still stuck on the whole tenure mantra where, oh, the longer you're with us, the, higher up you're going to go the corporate ladder, which is just how you, build a business to destroy it ultimately. But when we're referring to, these entrepreneurs, these are people that, like I said, they're still an employee, but they want more out of life in terms of their business, their job, that type of thing. They're not looking for just a job to pay the bills. Like we said, the guy who clocks in, clocks out, doesn't care about it. He's, oh God, it's Monday. Thank God it's Friday. These people, these entrepreneurs, they want to actually be part of something bigger. They want to help grow the business. They want to help grow their career, not just go up that corporate ladder, but eventually get to, the highest level that they can possibly achieve. And those are the people that obviously really, really help your business for those of you that want to actually start and grow your own business. But even if you're someone that you're kind of on the fence and, you ran into my content for the first time and you may be thinking, well, I'm tired of being just an average employee, but I don't necessarily, have like the stage of life that I'm in right now. This is why I hear a lot from people. The stage of life that I'm in right now, I can't just go all in and start my own business. You might be, like we said, what's called an entrepreneur. You might be somebody that you have the drive, you have the motivation, the discipline, and just the fire where you want to be part of something big and you want to, help grow a business and, get the fruits of that, right? But, you're at the same time, like I said, not willing to take all those risks that someone that's going to start their own business is going to have to stomach day to day, hour by hour. I mean, those of you that have your own business, you can probably even attest to what I'm saying. Like, it's just a totally different type of worry. Obviously, when you're an employee, obviously you can get laid off and all this other stuff, but you can always go find another job. Where when you're really into your business and you start a business, you see it as like a zero options mentality. Like, I don't even think about ever going back to a job now. Like, I literally think to myself, if I don't do what I need to do, I'm going to be homeless. Like, I go to like the worst of worst. Like, I don't even consider a job. And like I said, a lot of you guys can probably resonate with that. How's it going there, Bino 62? It's been a while. Yeah, it sure has. Yeah, it's been like 3 or 4 weeks already. I'm doing one tonight, this live stream for you guys tonight, because my daughter's birthday, her first birthday was today, and we have family coming into town for the party tomorrow, and they're going to be in town this weekend. And I was like, I can't go another week without doing a live stream for you guys. So I told my wife, I was like, I'm waiting on some laundry to get done. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick, like 20, 30-minute live stream for these guys real quick. But yeah, no, back to the whole topic. Then, of course, so we talked about the employee, right? The guy who just doesn't really care. He just is showing up because he doesn't have a choice. Then we got our entrepreneurs that, they have some fire. They want to be part of something big. They want to get the fruits. Like, this is where a lot of business owners, which we're going to get into here in a second, get it messed up. They get a good entrepreneur and then they squeeze and just, kind of like one of those, what they call them, like a squeegee towel, where, you build it up full of water and then you just squeeze the heck out of it and all the water comes out. They treat a entrepreneur like a employee that has a bunch of skills, and they think like, oh, let me just squeeze everything out of it that I can get. And then once there's nothing left, I'll throw it to the side and hopefully get another one. And then little do they know that good employees that are, entrepreneurs, they're not a dime a dozen. I mean, there's a reason that they oftentimes demand the most money and oftentimes get paid the most money, because they've earned those stripes. They've went through and done the work, pulled the long hours, went and got your business more business, went above and beyond to solve problems before you even realized the problems existed without even saying anything in a lot of cases. And that's where a lot of ownership, or even not even necessarily ownership, because sometimes depending on how big a business is, right? it could be management, management of, like we said, these employees that, somehow manage to work their way up to a higher corporate level position of management, not ownership, obviously, but management, right? They do, like we said, squeeze the heck out of that entrepreneur to the point where he's like, dude, fuck this. Like, I'm out of here. Like, I gotta go somewhere else. And then that business loses a very, very good employee, an actual asset to their business, which kind of translates in a way over to option number three, like we said, employee, entrepreneur, and now business owner. So, in terms of wondering, is this whole business thing going to be for me? Starting a business, is this going to be a thing for me? You will know, I will say very quickly. And again, those of you that I know, there's a lot of you now at this point who have already started your own business and you've been in business now for like 1+ years, which is awesome. I think we got one of you that's already hit six figures as well, which is great to hear. But you guys can probably even attest to what I'm about to say here, which is, within, I would say, the first 30 days, whether you're built for this or if you're not. And what do I mean by that? So, one, don't pay attention to what a lot of these quote unquote gurus online, the irony of, me talking on the internet right now saying this. I'm not a guru by any means or anything like that. I'm just a guy documenting everything for you guys. But of course, we know, you guys probably know what I'm referring to, different types of people that I'm referring to when I say don't listen to these like gurus online, where they tell you that, oh man, you got to get up at 3 a.m. and, you're working from 3 to 3, or not 3 to 3, you're working from 3 a.m. to midnight. You sleep 3 hours a night, you get up and you run 5 miles and you do this, you do that. Like, all that is just BS. Like, let's be real. The people that are saying that are one of two people. They're either A, people that have never done shit and they're trying to sell you on some either type of course that, oh, I've never done it, but I've heard, if you do this, this, and this, and I have a course to sell you that gives you a step by step on, if you do this, this, and this, you're gonna have, be making 7, 8 figures in 90 days, and just BS, right? So there's that bunch of people preaching this type of stuff. Then there's the people who, they are legit, but they've kind of lost their way in terms of, they forget how it was when they first started. That when you get up, like, you don't have time for a 3 hour morning routine. You got to get up, make your cup of joe, pack your cooler, whatever the case may be, and get to work, right? That is what it takes ultimately when you are first starting that first one to, I would even say, I'm not 10 years in yet. I'm at what, year 4 now, but we're in year 4, and in year 4, I'm still doing the same shit, actually more, because, as you get more customers and this and that, your time gets less and less and less. You have to manage the time even better. 4 years in, I'm still doing the same actions, but longer, earlier, and I'm doing less of the BS that the gurus, kind of talk about. And not to get off on a whole tangent on it, but when you're first getting started, don't worry about all this morning routine stuff. Get your ass out of bed at a reasonable time. Ideally, I say, depending on how, if you're someone that likes to go to bed early, then I guess 5 a.m. for you. If you're someone like me, who I'm kind of a night owl, I don't try to stay up late, but next thing I know, it's, 11 to 1 a.m. And usually I'm up by like 6, maybe 7-ish. It just depends on the day. The whole point is, as soon as that clock goes off, that alarm clock goes off, get up, hit the ground running. Don't worry about all this morning routine BS that people sell you. If you got time to do it, do it. Like, definitely focus on your mental health, your physical health, what you're putting in your body, all that stuff. But these people who, like, they tell you, oh, I'm jumping on a treadmill and I'm meditating while walking on my treadmill, and I'm doing visual, what would they call it? Like visualization or whatever. They tell you all this crazy stuff that they're doing, and you're like, man, that's 30 minutes, that's 15 minutes, that's 20 minutes, that's an hour. Like, next thing you know, I mean, you're talking roughly a 1 to 2, sometimes even 3 hour morning routine. Like, just get up and like have your task that okay, day one, like, this is for me how it literally was day one. I was like, okay, day one, we need to obviously get the LLC done. We need to get business insurance. Okay, we need to go down to was it the county clerk or something like that, get our DBA filed. Just make a checklist every single day of like at least 5 important tasks that you must get done, not need to get done, must get done. And then once you get those done, that's the beauty of being the business owner. You can decide at that point, okay, I got my critical tasks done. Now I can go fuck off for the rest of the day if I want. Probably shouldn't, but depending on the time, if it's noon, I'm probably gonna try to hammer out some more stuff, right? If it's like 4 to 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and I finally got task number 5 done, then I'm probably done for the day, right? Every day is gonna be different because when you're first starting out, at least this is how it was for me. When you're first starting out, you're going to vastly either overestimate or underestimate how much time stuff is going to take. You may think, oh man, like going and setting up my Google business profile, for example, that's going to be 15 minutes. I just type in the information, submit, done. But then you get into it and they're like, oh, we need you to do a verification video. Oh, to do the verification video, you need to do this, this, and this, right? We just talked about this recently with moving our business profile location. um, it turns into a whole multi-day type of event, right? So, you're gonna have these ebb and flows where you're gonna overestimate how much some stuff takes in terms of time to get done, then you're gonna underestimate, and you're gonna have days that are super long, you're gonna have days that are super short. Like the whole point is you have to be one willing to put in that time whenever it is going to be longer than you expect. And in order to do so, you can't be doing a lot of the BS that these people try telling you. So when we talk about who is, like, are you meant, for example, you watching, are you meant to start your own pest control business or whatever business it is that you may be looking at, pressure washing business, HVAC business, plumbing business, whatever the case may be? I know most of the people, if you're not a pest control technician or pest control business owner, I know a lot of you guys are either in like HVAC or some type of service business, right? At the end of the day, you have to sit down and just self-reflect. You have to just sit down and self-reflect. And it, like I said, doesn't take very long. Like I knew within shit, the first week, I was like, we're good. Like yeah, I'm stressed, but this is a healthy stress. I don't feel as stressed as I was as an employee, which was the irony. I was like, sure, like there's stress with business and stuff, but the stress that I had as an employee for the different employers that I worked for was way, 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 way higher than that I've really ever felt as a business owner. And again, don't get me wrong, there are days where like I wake up stressed, right? Like I wake up just like, fuck, do I even want to look at the phone? Like what BS is gonna be on like, my lock screen when I first unlock my phone? Like what are all the notifications gonna be about? Like there are those days. Like it just is what it is. But when you kind of over and over again, it's just reps, I guess, is the best way to explain it. After repetition over repetition of repetition over and over and over, you just kind of start to, like I said, there's still days where I don't even want to do it, but you've at least kind of developed that muscle that okay, the shit has to get done, otherwise we don't eat. Otherwise, we're homeless. Like I said, I have the zero options mentality personally where I don't even consider going back to a business, to be an employee. I call myself unemployable, even though I know deep down that I'm not. I say I'm unemployable, and I've literally convinced myself in my mind that, like, dude, if you don't get this shit done, like, we're gonna be homeless. There is no, oh, we'll figure it out. It's you get this shit done, or you're gonna be homeless. So yeah, no, that's the thing that you got to kind of sit down as a potential, if you haven't already started your own business yet, sit down and just think about, am I someone, like I said, these were three categories again for anyone that's just tuning in. Are you just what we consider just a standard employee, right? Someone that just doesn't really care a lot. You aren't willing to put in 12 to 18-hour days on a, almost everyday basis. Again, don't get me wrong, there's tons of benefits. I'm going to go on a 7 to 12 day little hiatus here towards the end of June. Why? Because I can. I'm the business owner, right? I determine my schedule, but I'm busting my balls May in early June to be able to do so. And, there's a lot of plus and minuses that go along with that too. But, again, are you someone that just doesn't really care? You don't want to put in all that time, that effort, that money, the risk, right? Because there's risk. Like we haven't even hardly, touched on the whole risk factor. I don't really think about risk a lot. That's another thing. What is your pain tolerance or risk tolerance? How risky are you willing to be? Now, I'm not saying be dumb risky like gambling, right? But in terms of calculated risk, how much risk are you willing to kind of put on the table and just know every day that, like we were talking about a second ago, like if I don't do this, bad things, right? Bad things, right? So, again, back to, which do you think you are? Do you think you're the employee that just, I kind of just want to float by? I got a whole lot of shit going on anyways, because that's, there's so many moving variables, right? Like everybody's different. Some of us, or I say some of us, not me, us, but like just some people, I guess, are in just stages of life where they can just, or they, not that they can, they have to just do what they can to kind of stay afloat, right? They got family members that are sick that they got to take care of, whatever the case may be. And, if you need to just stay an employee, stay an employee. Don't know your lane. Again, self reflect, write down, what's the most important things in your life. And if business is not number one, number two, obviously, the generic, obviously, God is first, family, then business, right? But, if business is not right up there for you, then don't try it. Do not try it. At most, go on over to option number two, the entrepreneur stage, where, like we said, maybe you have the drive where you're like, I want to make some money. I want to be part of something big, this and that and the other. But I got all this shit going on. My kid is sick and we got all this money going out to the don't put your family in harm's way just to start a business to try to be an entrepreneur, right? Do what you got to do, handle business, right? Or, like we said, are you the one of the few who know deep down, like you've known for years, I got to do this. I got to do this. Like I knew from like the age of 11, yeah, I could bring my own mom on my channel at some point and she could say, if she's watching this, let them know in the comments afterwards. Like she even to this day will tell people like, oh man, like even at like 10 years old he was so money motivated, like it was all about money, 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 and not like love money, but like money has always been important to me. Business, I knew from a very young age, like I'm probably not going to be an employee. Like, sure, I will be as long as I need to be, but long term, I'm going to be a business owner. I'm going to be an investor. I'm going to make lots of money and, help a lot of people along the way. It just is what it is. Like, and your story might be different. Like, I'm not saying that you have to, from the age of 10 or 11 years old, have that same mindset. But if you're sitting here right now, whenever you're watching this stream video or listening to it on podcast, because I'll probably upload it to the podcast as well for you guys. Um, if you've been sitting there for a while, just really like almost stressing out about like, dude, like I feel like I need to start a business. I feel like I need to take this leap. Do it. Like, do it. Like, well, what do you got to lose in terms of, you know, I mean, you actually got more to lose, in my opinion, if you're in this camp three over here by not starting a business than you do not starting a business. Because to me, the last thing that I want is for me to get to an age to where I can no longer make that decision and then be sitting back going, damn, dude, damn, like what if? Like that, those are the words I hate using the most. What if? What if back then I did this? What if back then I did that? What if, like, I hate what ifs, regrets, like all that type of stuff. So, like I said, and there's seasons to it too. If you're someone that, like we said, is in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s, and you just got a lot of shit going on, don't try to start a business. take care of the stuff you got to take care of, and when the time comes, reevaluate. Even for me, I had it all mapped out. I was like, I'm going to start my pest control business by the age of like 21 years old. Didn't end up starting until I was what, 23, 24, which, obviously is just a couple year difference, right? But a couple years is a big deal when it comes to business. Every year is substantial growth. And, why was that? It was because I had an unexpected season of, oh, we're having kids. Like my wife who was my girlfriend at the time, got pregnant, and it was like, oh shit, right? Like, it was my first kid. I didn't know how anything was going to go. Had to pay for a wedding and this and that, right? Like everything in terms of my plan for business. I'm sure someone's going to get all weirded out because I made that hand gesture. Where was I going with that train of thought? Oh yeah, yeah. We just had so much come up that everything business wise got put just on the back burner. Now, it was pissing me off in a good way, not like oh, this is BS, like I'm having to pay for this and that. Like it just drive me that much more to be more frugal with my finances and, just get to where I needed to be as soon as possible to be able to start my pest control business. But again, I had an unexpected season financially and just in life in general that, it delayed me starting my business by 2 to 3 years. And, it is what it is. And it was a blessing in disguise that I ended up getting fired from the pest control company that I was working at during the year of COVID in 2020, because, it propelled me into, again, that zero options mentality. I had 4 days. I wasn't even a certified tech yet. I was just a technician. Down here in Texas, you go from apprentice to technician to certified applicator. And I was just a technician. I was 4 days from taking my exams. So I went into zero options mentality. I was like, I gotta pass these tests. If I don't pass these tests, we're effed. Like that. That was my mentality. And I went in there, passed all the tests, and then from there, again, zero options mentality. I was like, okay, time to go. We passed the test. It was Halloween. We did a little bit of Halloween stuff with our little girl. She was what? Not even, was she 2? No, she wasn't even 2. She was like a year and a month old at that time. And did a little Halloween stuff, came home, worked all night on getting our first website up, worked all night on, like I said, starting to get everything that I could file, like with the IRS and all this type of stuff online, getting all that filed. Like I literally did not sleep that weekend. It was a Saturday. It was one of the years that Halloween fell on a Saturday, and just like I said, zero options mentality. So, I mean, like I said, immediately if you're meant for it or if you're not. And, you know, it just, like I said, it's all about self reflection at the end of the day. And, self reflection a lot of times can be painful because it may make you realize that, man, even though I want this, I'm not cut out for it. I'm not, you gotta call a spade at the end of the day. So yeah, in terms of the topic for today, that was kind of the main topic. See, we got about half a dozen or so of y'all tuning in right now. See if we got any questions or anything. Hopefully, you all have been enjoying the stream so far too. If you are, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button. It helps YouTube know that you guys like the content. That way, you'll see, when I go live more frequently or whenever I post videos. Sometimes we'll send you like little notifications and things like that. And if you're not already subscribed, of course, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way you won't miss any of the future live streams or videos. Let's see, Bino says, been a while. Yes, sir. CJ Johnson. God versus Allah. That's an ignorant question because Allah literally is translated into God. Let's see. Cole Graves said, "Love the mindset, bro." Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. That's what we're kind of focusing on, I guess, tonight. Really, is just like, like we said, self-reflection, mindset in terms of, you know, which mindset do you have right now? And by the way, like I said, a lot of it is there's seasons to life. There was a season in life when I was a teenager, I was a total dumbass employee, like just bare minimum, didn't care, would show up. Like, I knew that I was allowed to show up 7 minutes late, so I would clock in 6 minutes late. I know I could leave 5 minutes early, so I was leaving like 5 minutes and a couple seconds early. Like, I was immature in that stage. Obviously, most of us are when we're 16, 17, 18 years old, right? I transitioned from that stage. I kind of skipped the entrepreneur stage altogether. I went straight from that to just full on. I know I'm going to be a business owner. I'm not going to settle for just being a very good employee, this, that, and the other. I just kind of went from one extreme to the next. It took lots of hours of listening to very good podcasts when podcasts were first starting to come around in like, what year? 2015 or 2017, somewhere around there. Um, Hundreds, if not thousands of hours of podcast content, YouTube content. Went to a couple of live events, even just, all sorts of just stuff to really get that mind, like you said, Cole, get the mindset right. And it's something that, in my opinion, you never fully get either, because I noticed the moment that I kind of start not listening to that type of stuff, the mindset starts to kind of start to shift back to kind of nonchalant, like, oh, we'll get to it when we get to it, kind of that employee mindset, right? Cole also said, any tips for starting your pest control business while still working full time? Do you recommend going all in? My opinion a few years ago was different on this subject. My opinion a few years ago was, you know, I was on the fence. I was like, it depends on your situation. If you can get away with it, start it on the side. If you're working, now let me phrase it this way, because I still am on the fence to a degree with this, but I'm all in depending on which situation you are in. If you're in a situation where, like you say, you're working full time and you're working full time for a pest control business, do not try to start your own business. Obviously, the whole non-compete stuff is going out the window, like effective immediately, essentially. But I'm pretty sure not every piece of non-compete is going away. Meaning you cannot have like a conflicted interest, meaning you can't have your own business, but then be working for a pest control business and then find out. Like you can get in some really hot waters really quick, especially depending on how big of a company you're working for. They got the best legal teams in the world, obviously. So, from that standpoint, I would say wait until you can go all in. Now, when you can go all in is all up to you. Again, I went all in with, we had something like $1,000 and change of an emergency fund because, I've always been to a certain degree a Dave Ramsey follower. I don't for business. It's not the best advice for business, but in terms of your personal finance, I agree with a lot of what he's talking about. So we've always had like that $1,000 or so of an emergency fund. I had that, and then I had about like $3,000 to $4,000 in a 401k. Cashed it all out, took my little penalty, on that BS, and moved on. And then I sold my car that I had some equity in. All in all, I had about $10,000 or so, maybe 12 at the most. That I had to work with. And like I said, I had zero options mentality. I wasn't going back to work for another company or anything like that. So I made do with what I had. And yeah, I mean, obviously, here we are today. We're, knock on wood, going to have our first 200K plus year this year. And we've just been going ever since. We're probably going to hire our first employee. God, I'm really hoping this year. It seems hope is a horrible strategy, but sometimes you need a little hope, right? We're aiming for this year. By the way, I got a very good informative video for those of you that do have a not even just pest control business, but any business and you're looking to hire employees, because the math is eye-opening in terms of hiring an employee. There's so many hidden costs that people don't think about when it comes to hiring an employee. Just a quick spoiler alert, at least for the pest control industry and where I'm at here in Texas with no state income tax or any of that BS to worry about, you need to be doing roughly $17,000 a month, every single month, before it makes sense to hire an employee. So just so a lot of you guys are aware, because I know that's a very common question. How much money should you be doing in sales before you hire an employee? There's your quick little answer. And like I said, I'm gonna have a whole detailed video with a spreadsheet, breaks down all that. It's gonna be awesome. It's something that I wish I learned years ago, because would have saved us a lot of headaches and a wasted hire and all this other stuff. But different subject for a different day. But oh yeah, and then to the flip side of your question, like how I said, there's two, sides to this coin. If you're someone that, is like my brother, for example, he got certified and he's no longer in the industry. So to make sure that he wasn't going to lose his certification, he started a business. He started LLC. He's got everything going, but he's not in the pest control industry in terms of where he works. He just does like pretty much construction essentially. And he's looking at, starting it on the side, building it up. And then once he gets to the point that, he just doesn't have enough time in a day, then probably go ahead and, do it full time at that point. If you are in that example, that type of situation, then I don't have a problem with you doing it like that. Just know that if you want to achieve real results, it's going to take a lot of hours, specifically after hours when you normally be doing God knows what, right? Going out with the family, going out with friends, drinking, eating, partying, whatever the heck everybody's different, right? In terms of what they do with their off time. All that off time is going to be spent on your business, your marketing, you're going out and getting customers. Like even my brother, I was asking, I was like, what's your plan? And he was like, well, I plan on, working evenings and, working weekends. And, I usually hit 40 hours by Wednesday, Thursday. So I'll have Thursday afternoon, Friday, Saturday, and if I need to, Sunday. Just do what I got to do ultimately. And I was like, well, you're going into it with the right mindset at least. Like you're not just saying, oh, I'm only going to work Saturdays or something, right? Like he knows it's not just about servicing the clients, but it's also all the back end stuff, the books, the marketing, the SEO, all the stuff that we talk about on this channel, right? So, like I said, regardless of what situation you're in when it comes to that, either working for a pest control business or, working somewhere else, my ultimate answer is go all in if possible, but, I wouldn't test it too much in terms of if you're working for a pest control business right now. Um, you also said I'm working for a pest adjacent company, a vendor. Okay. So no actually, you're kind of sitting in a very good spot. Um, it's up to your financial situation, where you're at in life. Like we were talking about with the seasons, what type of season you're at with life. Do you have little ones that, you got all these obligations for? If you got the time, that's usually where a lot of people kind of have to decide, are they going to go all in or are they going to start part time? It comes down to time, right? We all only got 24 hours in a day, 5 to 8 of which are going to usually be sleep, unless if you're crazy, maybe 3 or 4 hours. But, you're going to have roughly 18 hours or so, plus or minus an hour or two, right? Um, to get everything done that you need in a day. Usually about 8 hours of that is going to go to your job. Like you said, you have a job right now. Usually 8 to 10 hours of that are going to be dedicated to your job. You got to eat breakfast, you got to get ready, you got to go work, then you got to work, then you get off work, you have your commute home. Usually all in all, you have like 10 hours dedicated to your job, even if you just have an 8 hour position, right? So, like I said, it all depends on where you're at in life. Do you have the time to go work in the evenings, to go lock yourself away in a room like I do in your house and, just work relentlessly for 2 to 6 hours straight in the evenings, eating dinner, sometimes by yourself right here at your desk? Again, a lot of sacrifice. And that's regardless if you go all in or if you start part time. Either way, like I said, the time still has to be put in. It's just, is it going to be more spread out with you starting part time, or are you going to go all in from the get go and just speed up those results, right? Either way, the time has to be put in, the skills have to be learned. The skills are never ultimately learned. You're always, as soon as you start to develop a skill, there's another new skill on top of that skill. You're like, oh shit, and I got to learn that, right? So it's never ending, right? So I'll put it this way, just to end this part of the conversation. to answer your question, essentially, I'll just sum it up. As soon as possible, go full time. Don't try, like we were talking about with my brother, for example. I warned him of this too. Don't wait until you get to a point where you literally have no more time. Your wife's getting pissed off. He just had his first kid this past week. Like, don't wear yourself thin if you're going to be doing the part-time game early on. Like jump full time as soon as you have what I call proof of concept. What do I mean by proof of concept? You get your first dozen customers or so, and you get them. Like, how long did it take you to get those dozen customers? Did it take you 6 months? Did it take you 6 weeks? Did it take you 6 days? Like, as soon as you have a proof of concept, which in my opinion is you get at least a dozen customers in a month, to me, that is enough proof of concept because 12 times 12 is 144. Average contract value, if you did $1,000 a year, that's $144,000. If you did half of that, you're still talking, what, about $72,000. So again, just getting some proof of concept. Once you have your proof of concept in place, hit the ground running. That is my ultimate opinion. So kind of a long-winded answer, but hopefully that helps. How's it going, Rich O Cat? That's funny. That's a cool name, Rich O Cat. Or not funny, but cool name. New tech, couple months in. I'm glad to have found the channel. Yeah, no, welcome, welcome. Yeah, no, and I mean for those of you that are techs that you're kind of on that, that you're going to be starting your own business soon, or maybe you're even on the fence. Just do what y'all are doing right now. Like just keep watching. Not even just my content. I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I think that mine might be the best. I don't know. I mean, there is some good guys out there. There's some really good content out here in the pest control industry too. I wish more would post. As a matter of fact, I know slowly but surely there's some other guys who are starting to like post podcasts and this and that. But I wish there were more people in our industry that would kind of open up and share their journey and just document it whenever we can, right? Because a lot of times, like we said, we're busy, especially right now, busy season, right? Going crazy right now. I got two termite jobs next week and hopefully more to come, right? But whenever we're able, I feel like whenever you get to a point where you have, again, some type of proof of concept that you took a business from zero or 5,000, 10,000, whatever little amount of money you started with, right? And you took it and built it to, hell, even a $50,000 a year company. I mean, you are doing what most people can't do, which is work for yourself, have a successful solopreneur business, regardless of how big you decide to build it. I feel like it's all of our duty to just kind of help everyone out and just there's so many people out here. Like I feel like a lot of it is our industry can be very cutthroat. A lot of people think that like in order for me to succeed, you got to lose. Like if you're in my area, for example, like if I win, you lose, you win, I lose. Like, man, there's so many people out here that so many houses. I don't know if y'all notice, we have a housing shortage because how many people there are. And with more houses means what? More customers, right? There's no need to be so cutthroat, man. We got to get past that as an industry. How's it going there, Dwight? I've seen you in a couple groups lately too, I think. Trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to hit on for you guys. I guess for those of you that are still tuning in, give you all some extra sauce today. You guys know that we actually got it pulled up here right now, and I'll show you guys here in a second. We moved our Google business profile recently to Plano, Texas, because I moved out to what I call the old BFE, you know, population 1,500 people where I live as of 2020. Now there has been a few developments go up out here, so the population's probably quadrupled, probably about 6,000 now, but way out here to say the least. So we got our office back in the same location in Plano that we had that second location. If you guys remember, those of you that have been following the channel for a while since like 2022, remember that we got an office in Plano, and we got the same location, but instead of opening a second location, we just moved our main location to this office. And you guys know I was very worried about, one, just the changing the address. One, we did get that fixed, and we had a video that I just posted this last week about like how to kind of make that process go as smooth as possible. Took all in all about a week or so, week and a half roughly, to get that straightened out. But we did get it straightened out, and our rankings, believe it or not, are not god awful. So I ran a report. A This is a 7 mile radius, which is a pretty wide radius for this service area. You're talking, good lord, well over 1 million people within the 7 mile radius. And look at our rankings. Show you guys these rankings. These are not bad. These are not bad. I actually already sold 2 customers this last week. The listing did go live. What day was it? Like Friday night? Like not obviously not this week because it's Thursday. Last Friday night, it was like late Friday night. Like I think I was watching the Mavs OKC game, and I noticed it went live at halftime, and the rankings sucked at first. I was like, oh no, this is not good. But then I woke up Saturday morning and checked them, and they were about what they are now. Of course, it always moves minute by minute to a degree. But literally Saturday morning, we got a job that we sold already, a quarterly pest control customer. And then I've had a couple leads since then. We got one in a town called Carrollton, which oddly enough is pretty far away from our service area. But we got that one as well. That's a $92 a month account. They did have to unfortunately postpone because they had a financial emergency come up apparently. But that's one that is going to be going. Then we had one way out in a town called Southlake, Texas. I'm assuming the guy works in Plano and he lives in Southlake, because it just wouldn't make sense. I mean, Southlake is like 40 miles to the west. It's close to Fort Worth, essentially. But yeah, I mean, things seem to be going pretty well in terms of that location. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. Like I said, if you ever end up needing to like move your Google Business Profile, definitely watch that video. It's pretty short, if I recall, like straight to the point, like a checklist almost of things that you definitely want to do to help speed up that process if you ever end up running into that. My gosh, it was a headache. I'm not gonna lie, but like we said, it only took a week. The beauty of it was they didn't like suspend our profile or anything, so it just kept saying pending edits. So our location was still showing up in Rowlett, Texas, which is where we used to live. It was acting like pretty much nothing changed. So if you typed in pest control in the Rowlett area, Rowlett, Wiley, Saxe, etc., we would still be showing up. So we were still getting calls, but it took, like I said, about a week or so for that location to update. And yeah, I'm definitely, like I said, it's going to take some work to get our rankings as well as what they were in Roulette, just because as you head, I don't know if you guys seen, but as you head further south, our rankings start to like drop exponential. I mean, we go from like top five, top three, down to like what, 17 to 20 plus pretty quickly. Once we get outside of probably about a 5 mile radius, 4 to 5 miles roughly, that's where there's a lot more competition. So once you get south of what's called President George Bush Turnpike, there's a lot of companies right down there, especially once you get into Richardson. So yeah, that'll be kind of a more long-term game over the next year or so I'm banking on. But either way, I'm absolutely thrilled. These rankings are way better than what our previous location listing was, after one whole year. So yeah, like I said, I'm thrilled about it. Based on the math I'm running in this area, we should, at the bare minimum, match our lead volume that we were getting in Rowlett. And that's at the minimum. I'm expecting, 30 to 40 leads a month. And that's just how the rankings stand right now, assuming they get better and better and better as we, expand our footprint and get our authority going there. I expect that to go well past 50, 50 to 100 is kind of the target. 50 during slow months, upwards of 80 to 100 during busy months. So yeah, I'm definitely thrilled. Trying to think if there's anything else for you guys. See if we have any other comments or questions first. Dwight said, yes, sir. I've been tuning in. Thanks for sharing so much game. Really helpful. Yeah, no, like I was saying a little bit ago, I almost feel like a duty. God's been blessing me with, just a relentless drive and just passion to succeed in this industry and, go up and compete with the biggest of the biggest boys. And, like I said, I mean, it's a process, but I feel like it's a duty to just, like I said, if nothing else, just document my journey. Just document it. If someone can learn from it, that's cool. If someone's already ahead of me, cool. I mean, I have some people from time to time come in the comments, like some older videos that'll be like, how many employees do you got? And I'm like, I mean, I had one, and technically two if you count the 1099, technically three if you count my wife, right? But it's back to just me, and then they kind of see they a lot of people think that like I'm trying to like be like, oh, I know everything, right? And I'm like, no, man, like I'm just documenting my journey. Like I know there's people that are gonna be looking up the same stuff I was looking up, and that's pretty much how I base all of my content. I base it around stuff that I have searched for. And a lot of things that I upload are things that I search for that I don't really find shit on the internet about, or I have to go through hundreds of hours of BS YouTube content, podcast content, articles, clickbait, right? Where you think you found what you're looking for, and then somebody trying to sell you something like. Um, so when I do finally find the solution to my problem, either A from someone else or usually B me just kind of trial and error figuring shit out, I post it. And because I know if I'm looking for it, there's got to be at least 100 to a couple thousand people looking for it. And to my surprise, there's apparently almost 3,000 plus of you that are looking for it. So, and growing by the day. So, yeah, no, it's awesome to hear that people benefit from it. How's it going there, Faro Pest Control? Just hired my first employee. It's been kind of interesting. Yeah, if it went anything like how our first employee experience went, I can imagine. Lots of, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Faro, but lots of learning involved in that. Just the whole hiring process in general. You think it's as simple as like either A, get a referral, which is how we got our guy, it was actually a referral, or B, throw up a job listing and just find a guy, right? But then you run the background checks and then you go through the training and it's like, oh my God. Yeah, it can be a process to say the least. And a lot of it too, like don't get me wrong, a lot of it isn't even just on the employees that we hire, it's on us developing a whole nother skill, leadership, which I don't talk too much about because again, I try to kind of stay in my lane. I try to talk about things that I have gone through, things that I've went through. I've only hired one employee. Like we said, we had a 1099 guy, but I don't really count him as an employee. He was a buddy that was really good at wildlife and exclusion work, who was referred to me, and he wasn't ever an employee, so I don't count him as one. But I've only hired one employee ever, and we only had him for like a month. So I don't really talk a lot about leadership because, like I said, I try to stay in my own lane. I try to talk about things that for the most part that I've gone through. And if I'm talking about things that I haven't, then I try, to remember to like preface it with like, if, if or when, or, to let you guys know, like, we haven't, you know, hit that mark yet. So, but just to hit on it real quick, like, because again, this is just what I took away from hiring that first employee was there is a lot that goes into the leadership side of it. Like I know after that experience, I always think about like what could I have done differently to help this either situation, this individual, whatever the case may be, how to make it go better, right? And I walked away from that employee experience going like, how can I be a better leader in terms of like getting the best out of people and this, and, um, find out what makes them click because everybody has different, um, not like love language type of thing, like with your spouse, but like a different outlook, I guess, on, like we said, going back to, are they just an employee who doesn't really care, or are they an entrepreneur? Like, you got to find out which one you're kind of dealing with because you're going to deal with an entrepreneur a lot different than you're going to deal with the guy who's kind of more so just going through the motions. You're going to have a lot of people like that, unfortunately. Regardless of what people say, you're always going to have some of those slip through the cracks. But then whenever you do get your entrepreneur, then you know that, okay, I can talk to this person this way. They click on this. Like I said, it's a whole thing that I'm definitely going to document that part of my journey as we start hiring more and more over the coming years. But yeah, it was a very, very, very interesting deal. Rich O'Cass says, opinions on how much percent of a business goes to cost. Oh boy. Um, Depending on your marketing, because some people don't market at all. You guys know there's months of the year that we don't spend nothing on marketing, but then there's other months where we'll spend 1,000 plus on marketing. I mean, I've had $2,000 to $3,000 months on marketing. So depending on your marketing, I would say you could expect to take home as a solopreneur up to about 50-60% best case scenario. Worst case scenario, if you're trying to grow like we are now, you're going to lower that down as much as possible, probably around like 30-40%. If you're someone that, you start getting to the point where you do have employees, you're usually, like we said, if you're going to be marketing at any level, don't expect to take home, more than about 30%. That's best case scenario. I've heard of guys, taking home literally like 5%. So again, it all depends on what level you're at. There's actually another guy here on YouTube. His YouTube channel used to be called like Frank the Pest Geek. I think he rebranded the channel recently, like Pest Geek Podcast or something of that nature. He's um, I like to call him a veteran, essentially. He's been around the game for a while. And man, I wish I remember. I think, like I said, I think it's like Pest Geek Podcast or something of that nature. And he had just like a meetup essentially that he filmed and documented it for us. And it was like golden. It was exactly what I was looking for months ago. And I even commented and told him, I was like, dude, like this was eye opening. Like, thank you for this. Because like me, I ran numbers and I was like, shit, I can take home, 40-50% with having employees. Like we'll be banking 500K. I'm taking home 250, right? And then when they all started breaking down their numbers, there was one guy who, if I remember right, they were like at break even. By the time you factored in all their marketing costs and HR and payroll taxes and that, they were like at break even to 5%. There were guys that were, around 25%. The consensus seemed to be right around 20-25%. But they said, if you're not really marketing too much, you're relying a lot on, generic like SEO, like stuff that we do, 25-30%. But again, that's if you're looking to grow. If you're looking to just be a solo guy, you could hit 40-55% all day long. Faro said, I saw that. Yeah, dude, that was awesome, right? Like that was a very good, very, 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 very good video. Like that, most underrated video of the year that I've seen for people that are looking to like grow their pest business. Let me see. I think I might have missed something earlier. Haha, man. Or haha, I'm a first. Oh, you're a first employee. That's funny. Sounds like you're probably a good one if you're tuning into Pest Control Business live stream. Let's see. Oro also said, I'm learning to hire based off personality, not so much. This is true. This is very true. That's one thing that I've learned, not just from my experience, because obviously, like I said, I've only hired one guy, but just from what I've heard from other people as well, is, which the concept just totally makes sense. Like, I would rather take a guy who is, for the most part, younger. It's usually younger, men, right? Looking to kind of get their life going, get their first like good job that pays decently to good money, right? And I'd rather take someone that has no experience, that has a good attitude, good personality, willing to learn this and that, and teach them to be, a little mini version of me, essentially, in terms of being out in the field, taking care of the customers, this and that and the other, then bring someone in with experience who, even if they have a good attitude, this and that, you're having to retrain, like retool a lot of potential bad habits. And, it could just, like we said, this is assuming they have good attitude, this and that. It's still going to take longer to train them, believe it or not, because again, we're trying to get those old bad habits out. But then let's say they do have a bad attitude or personality or whatever, like it can really become a headache really quick. So I totally agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of how it goes. Let's see, Griffin, you remind me of me right now. I'm in like the same place as you. I'm in the same place as you. We should mastermind. Yeah, no, yeah, usually best way. Mastermind can be so many different things. Usually easiest way, stay in touch with me is usually that Discord group that we're all in. The Facebook group as well. Facebook, with it being a little bit of a smaller group with only like 100 or so people in there, usually easiest and like Facebook in the comments of the posts and things like that because there's not like dozens of comments and chats and this and that going on. Which kind of leads me to another point. I've had so many people asking about like you said, masterminds, even which I know you're not even like referring to this. I'm just kind of hitting on everything as a whole right here. Mastermind, events, courses, gosh, what else? Consulting, oh, hell, even just, which is technically consulting, like a meeting on, Google Meet, FaceTime, whatever the case may be, all that type of stuff. Um, the main thing is the most time that I have in terms of all that type of stuff is either here on Facebook and in Discord. There was a very short period that I was quote unquote offering, like consulting and this and that, and I just kind of put a halt on that just because I was like I was losing myself, if that makes sense. Not getting all like sentimental or nothing, but like losing, like I said, going back to the whole time thing, losing my time in my main business and I because I don't really like the idea of like charging people for like this online stuff. I was like undercharging essentially compared to like what my time is worth, so to speak. So it's like I'm trying to figure out. I was literally just thinking about this evening, or this week even, as a matter of fact, just coming up with something like because Discord is great, the Facebook group is great, all of that is great. But obviously, like you said, there's people, including yourself, that want like some kind of actual mastermind of like people that are really hyper focused and like want to, really like either have some kind of like weekly, little conference meetup, whatever the case may be, trying to figure out something of that nature. I'm trying to figure it out, something that, you know, we could put on regardless if it's like one big Zoom meeting a week or a month or whatever the case may be. The only thing with it is like I've talked about it, to me it feels no different than what we're doing now, but I get that it is different though because like with Zoom meetings, all of our faces are up there. We're having like conversation versus this just being me and then just, going through the YouTube chat. So it's something that will probably definitely be in the works. Like I said, we already have kind of a foundation at least with griffinbthomas.com that I started, what this past spring or winter, whenever it was, at least a foundation. But I want to, like I said, kind of maybe once it starts slowing down this fall, winter, maybe circle back around to that idea and figure something out for you guys. And like I said, hopefully, if we can continue growing this community in general, and we get enough steam rolling with this community, maybe start putting on like a yearly event or something, where we can have speakers at each level, speakers that are at that 50 to 100,000 level, who are, because I know at those type of seminars there's people at every stage. There's people that haven't even started yet. There's people that are at the 50 to 100,000. There's people at the 100 to 200. There's people at the 200 to 500, 500 a million, et cetera, et cetera. So if we can build the community up enough here that we have people from every stage of the game, in this community on Discord, Facebook, et cetera, here, and enough people, like I said, just enough steam behind it to book a venue out, have enough people there to make it at least pay the bill in terms of the conference room and all the stuff that goes into that, right? Because that stuff ain't free, obviously. Then it'd be awesome to start like putting an event on like that as well. Like I said, my brain is always thinking about just all that type of stuff, along with, oh man, if y'all could get into my mind, you'd be like, I want out, I want out, I want out. This thing never stops. um, but yeah, no, that I'm definitely, like I said, it's a good point that you brought up there, and it gave me a opportunity here to address it again because, like I said, it seems to be coming up more and more and more in the comments, and I don't know how to respond to anybody in the comments that like asks about like, hey, how can I get a hold of you? Hey, like the easiest way right now to get a hold of me is on our Discord group and Facebook group. But like I said, long term, hopefully we can, set up some type of whatever you want to call it. A lot of people like you call it mastermind group, whatever the case may be, for people that, like we said, are serious business owners who, want to grow together and, like we said, do like a monthly meet or something. We'll get it figured out, like I said, especially once the season starts winding down a little and I have a little more time to focus on YouTube again and back end stuff and all that, right? Let's see. Dwight says, "Can you recommend SEO to me?" SEO. Oh, are you meaning SEO, like searching, like when we talk about the internet stuff, like search engine optimization? I know how I pronounce it probably does come out as SEO. Um, but yeah, no. If assuming you are talking about SEO, man, in terms of like if you're, like I said, talking about that and you're asking about like a company, I'm not gonna lie, most of them suck. I've yet to, yes, okay, cool. I've yet to have found one that like I just really, really trust, that knows enough about the pest control industry, because that's the thing, like SEO for, say a lawyer, right, is going to work totally different than for a service business. I at least want to see a company that works with HVAC people, plumbing, etc., because then I'm like, okay, they work with service businesses. They know the type of clientele, the type of keywords, etc., that we're trying to hit for, right? Because a lot of these companies, they'll sell you on, oh, we can get you on page one. And it's like, okay, page one for what search term though? And then it's like some search term that, is like getting rid of ants with salt, right? It's like, I don't care about ranking page one for that search term. I want to rank page one for pest control near me, pest control Dallas, Texas, Dallas, Texas termite control, whatever the case may be, right? Um, I've been looking. I've definitely been looking because um, with the amount of money that we're saving on our expenses in terms of this move that we made, like it's given us some options, we'll put it that way. And it's definitely something that long term, especially for the website, I want to just kind of, that is one thing I will 100% be outsourcing, like regardless of how much hundreds of hours I put into my website, put into learning stuff about the website. There's a lot of stuff. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot get most of my pages to rank page one. A lot of like my contact us page and stuff like that. Ironically, what I would consider to be my worst pages on my website that had very little content, this and that and the other, they seem to rank page one easily, but a lot of the other ones, they just don't. They rank occasionally page one, a lot of times page two, three, four, and even five and worse. And it's annoying. I'm great at the local SEO, the Google Map Pack that we talk about a lot here, but something about that website SEO, it's a totally different ball game. It's always changing. Um, so, yeah, the moment that I do hire a company out and, give them that usual 6 months or so to see if they, are who they say they are, once we get that straightened out and, we can officially say that we can recommend them, I'll definitely let you guys know because yeah, that is a big part of the game for sure, is getting on that page one. The Google Map Pack thing is great. If you rank in the top three, you're usually gonna get what is it, like something like 60% of leads. That doesn't mean that you're going to have 60% of sales, of course, but for every 10 people that call a pest control company, you'll get six of those calls. But that means you're leaving 4 out of 10 on the table. So imagine if you could rank page one, specifically top five of page one, how many more calls you'd be getting. But yeah, I think thank you. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I think, like I said, assuming that's everything in terms of questions and comments and all that stuff, um, we'll probably go ahead and start wrapping the stream up. I'll give you guys another minute or so while I go through, just some stuff, I guess, for you all real quick. If you have any last second questions, drop them down in the chat. Don't be shy. But yeah, no, as always, speaking of that whole what Faro was talking about a little bit ago, if you guys do want any like resources and things like that that can help you with your pest control business journey, I have a link in my description box that just says my LinkTree, and usually pretty much every link in there is up to date. Or it better be, and everything in there is designed like to help you guys. There's like a free trial to GorillaDesk PRO version, 14 days, no contract or obligations or anything to that. What else is in there? Link to like our podcast on Spotify specifically. It's on all platforms, but if you listen to Spotify, it'll take you straight over there. I believe also in the description box is a link to our, what is it, our Google Ads. It's like a Google Ads course. Technically, it's like the only quote unquote course that I have, just because a lot of people were asking for it. And I do plan on actually adding to that, by the way. And if you do end up buying that at any point, you'll have full access to any future updates as well. But yeah, there's any link, like I said, whatsoever that is going to be helpful to you that you want to check out. It should be in my LinkTree. If not, then it's also just in the description box in general. What's the podcast name? The podcast name is just Real Life Entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas. I think if you just type in like real life entrepreneurship or something of that nature, it should pop up. But if you type in fully real life entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas, then it'll definitely pop up because it's the only one. I tried to pick a somewhat unique name that if you type it in, there won't be 100 different versions that pop up, right? And occasionally on there, I'll do audio exclusives. That way, it gives you all a reason to tune into it. I want to say, man, how many episodes are on there? There's probably like 30 to 40 episodes total on the podcast. And I want to say of that, there's at least 5, if not 10, that are like audio exclusives, where we're just straight up, talking into a mic, no video, no YouTube or anything like that. And then some of it is just the YouTube stuff put into audio only and like transcribed or whatever. Trying to think if there's anything else for you guys in terms of just helpful links and all that. One other thing that people were asking a lot about is the Google Business Profile in terms of help with that. Same thing with Google Ads. I mean, I used to offer service for that, but like I said, it just takes up way too much time. It's not like a business venture for me whatsoever. It's just more so me documenting stuff here for you guys. But for people that want an actual resource, I'll probably start creating like a quick, cheap little quote unquote, resource course, whatever you want to call it for that as well. Again, all of it's on here on YouTube for free, but I know, like I said, just based off comments that I get from time to time, some of you guys want like an actual resource that you can click on, just purchase it, have access to it, and just boom, 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 go right through, the little modules, learn what you need to learn, and move on. I'm trying to think. That'll probably be in the fall when that comes out. If it does earlier, I'll let you guys know. I'm in no rush because, like I said, it's not a business. That's not a business for me. That's just more so for you guys. But of course, I have to have the time to make that for you guys too. But the moment that you know releases, I'll be sure to start throwing that in the description boxes as well. But like I said, all that stuff in general that I've referred to is either A, in my LinkTree, or B, on my main website for pest control business owners, griffinbthomas.com. B as in boy, pretty much just my name, griffinbthomas.com. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's pretty much it. If we don't have any other questions or anything, I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Lastly, like I said, if you haven't already, smash that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already subscribe as well. Hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. If you're looking to start a pest control business or grow your pest control business, again, if you don't know who I am, my name is Griffin Thomas. I started my pest control business back in 2020. Started that with, like we said, right around $10,000 after selling my car and all this other stuff, cashing out my 401k, blah, 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 blah. And we took that to a 6-figure business my first year. We kind of plateaued for a little bit, and looks like maybe this year we'll hit 200k plus and be hiring some full-time help here before long. So yeah, just document that overall journey for you guys. I appreciate you all as always. I have a long day tomorrow, so hopefully if you all have a good day, or hopefully if you all have a long day, it'll be nice and prosperous for you guys. Otherwise, have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next video or live stream.